Hi, you're very welcome. And in this video, what I want to walk you through is a function in Excel called the vlookup. It's one of the oldest functions in Excel and probably one of the most used, but sometimes more dreaded. So we have a scenario here where in yellow, I've marked, I don't have this bits of data. I don't have the employee name, department, or hourly rate. But over here, on this right hand side, I do have the data. Okay, now I have had people say to me, why wouldn't you just copy and paste it? That's fine, but the problem is then if you need to change something, it won't update automatically. So the first thing we need to do is we need to identify what is in common. Right? And in this case, it is the employee ID. So we've got the employee ID over here. I've got the employee ID over here. And if you also notice, I've also marked see there I've put the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 above it. Okay, so let's click here on this one. I always teach it from the ribbon, from the wizard, because I think it makes it easier to get your head around, particularly in the beginning. I go up here to my formulas, and then I go to lookup and reference, which is here. Click on this one, and at the very bottom, I'll find my vlookup. There we go, and this pops up. Okay. So the lookup value, which is the first bit, this is the thing that's in common. Okay, and I'm going to click over here on the employee ID. Now, please bear in mind that VLOOKUPs have certain limitations, which means that, for example, that your lookup value can be to the left of your formula of your function, above your function, below your function, but it doesn't work to the right. So if you're, for example, if the employee ID was over here on the right of the employee name, you'd actually have to move your data around for you to use a VLOOKUP. The second step of the stairs is the table array. And this basically is the range or the data set that has all the data I need, which in this case is going to be my 4 columns N, O, P, and Q. And again, another important sort of caveat about the table array is that the first column, which in this case here is my employee ID, the first column of my table array has to be the same as the thing that's in common. Or as I say, it doesn't have to, but it doesn't work otherwise. And again, that's another sort of caveat or limitation you need to be aware of with your VLOOKUP. Third step of the stairs, go to column index number, and I want to get the employee name. So when I look over here at my table array, my first column is this column ID, this is the second column, this is the third column, and this is the fourth column. Right? What number it is on the column reference is irrelevant. What matters is what's its position in this data set. So that's actually going to be 2. And the last bit then is I put in 0 because I want it to be an exact match or false. And if you notice here, I get a little preview of it which says and rain, and then I click OK, and then I can just double click on the corner to copy it down. So go here, just double click. Now if you're kind of thinking, why would you bother your Barney about all that? Well, let's say, for example, Anne Rain decides to call herself Anne Reindeer. If I change it to reindeer here, over here in the table array, you can see there it's now updated here as well. Or if I just do copy and paste, it means that doesn't happen automatically. Okay, so let's do it with the second column. Now, if you're kind of get more experienced at this, there's ways to tweak it so that you just copy it across. But for our purposes here, we're just going to do it slow and steady. So click here again, go to lookup and reference, go down to your VLOOKUP. So it's going to be the same lookup value, which is the employee ID. So I click on this one again. I go down the second step of the stairs, which is my table array, same table array, again columns N, O, P, and Q. Right. And I've highlighted all the columns so that if, for example, I decide to add on more names at the bottom, it'll update automatically. Now for this one, I'm looking for the department. So I'm going to look at his column 3. So I just put in 3. And then my range lookup again is going to be false. Now you can see me sometimes put in false or 0. It's the same thing. It basically means I want an exact match. I don't want the one that's kind of like it. I need the exact match. And then click OK. And then I can just double click on it to copy it down. And let's do the last one now, the hourly rate. Click here, go to lookup and reference, go down to my VLOOKUP. Where is it? We can use the alphabet, that would help. Same thing again, the lookup value, which is this one. My table array, again, the same 4 columns. And at this time, the rate is going to be column number 4. So I just put in 4. And then I also look here also just to check. I want to put that in here and then put in 0. And then I click OK. Right? So that's kind of like the slow and steady way of doing it. And I hope you find it useful, and mind yourself and take care. Bye.